Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, B-Wit. This is B-Wit's Gone Fishing, and today we're going to go over the top 5 baits for the month of April. It's April, and you may be wondering what is so good about April and springtime when you're a bass fisherman. It is the time of year where it is pre-spawn time, okay? And in some areas, there's already a post-spawn going on, depending on where you're at. But for the most part, it is pre-spawn conditions. The fish are ready to get into those shallow creek areas, into that shallow water to go ahead and do their thing in the spawn. So it is time to get out on the water. It is beautiful outside. Get out on the water and catch some of these pre-spawn fish as they move up into shallower waters. And so, like I said in the title, we're gonna go over the top 5 baits that I like to throw during this time of year. I like to call it the money year. And we're gonna start off with some of the moving baits where you wanna cover water, and then we're gonna tailor back and go into more of a finesse, more of a flipping and pitching situations on the water. So you guys follow along. Let's get into this video. All right, guys, here we go. Bait number 1, the lipless crankbait. Why do I like the lipless crankbait? Because you can throw it down here in Texas when we have grass. If you're out there on the grassy lakes like San Rayburn or Toledo Bend, there's grass, and I really like throwing the lipless around the grassy areas, especially on the outside of the grass and on top. That's where I love to focus on the lipless. I'm gonna throw that on 10 to 12 pound line. If I'm on top of the grass, I'm gonna throw it on 12. If I'm on the grass edge and I want to get a little bit deeper, I'm gonna throw it on 10 pound test. I'm gonna reel it 3 different ways. I'm gonna reel it in quick, I'm gonna reel pause, and I'm gonna reel hop. What I'm doing there is I'm looking for that reaction strike. If I'm in clear water, I'm gonna reel it pretty good. If I am on top of the grass, I'm gonna go reel pop, reel pop. A lot of times I really like to use the reel pause when I'm on docks, especially on the outside of docks or the rocky areas. Depends on the conditions. You gotta figure out what the bass really want. All right, bait number 2. This bait, I guess you can say, has some kind of a special meaning for me because it is one of the first baits that I threw when I started learning how to bass fish. And it's a great technique to use to cover water, throw around trees, especially riprap and rocks, and around the docks. That's gonna be the crankbait. All right, square bill crankbait. I have 2 colors here. I got a chartreuse and I got a crawl pattern. Love throwing these 2 colors because down here we got stained water, and this is a color that you are going to want to throw in that stained water, brighter colors. If I do not have stained water and I'm on a grass lake, I'm going to throw a shad imitation. Okay, I'm going to have a natural shad, or I'm going to have a shad with some kind of goldish silver color pattern to it. I really like that to get that reaction strike on those fish. Just like the lipless crankbait, guys, I'm gonna throw it on 10 to 12 pound line. Again, I'm throwing that around rocks, riprap, outside of docks. Depending on the depth and where the fish are located is going to depend what I'm going to throw that on. A lot of times it's going to be on 10 to 12 pound line, mostly 12 for me down here because we do have a lot of stuff in our water as far as laydowns, and I really like picking apart those areas with the laydowns and riprap for sure, throwing the square bill crankbait. Wider wobble, you can either go silent or with the rattle. I have all silent here. I just really like the silent ones because it's not so loud. I think sometimes with the square bills, the beads can be a little loud and it can like scare the fish away. So I like the no sound with my crankbait, and I just really focus on that vibration that the square bill can bring. That is really key to me. Also, I really like fan casting the square bill. If I'm in an open area, let's say like a creek channel, and there's we're going down that creek channel. We could be in the middle, and I just want to cover water. I'm gonna pick up that square bill and I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw it until I get to the very end, and then I'm gonna go back, and then I'm gonna pick it apart with something like a senko or a crawl to kind of get those little fine areas that I could have missed with the square bill. All right, guys, bait number 3. To me, it's a lot like the square bill. Something that I first started throwing and been throwing it ever since I started bass fishing. That is going to be the bladed jig, aka chatterbait. I'm gonna throw 2 different colors. I'm gonna throw black and blue, and I'm gonna throw white and chartreuse. I really like throwing this bait just about anywhere. I will skip it under a dock, throw it over a laydown, rip wrap, skip it like I said. Same thing, covering water just like a crankbait, going down the bank, throwing that chatterbait, and most definitely throwing it when I'm with the grass as well. Now, there's one way I really like bringing it when I'm in the grass that's going to prevent some drag with that bait. I actually take the skirt off, and now I just have a jig with a blade. I really like doing that. I can put a bigger profile swim bait on it and just get that reaction strike, but if they're stingy and they need that vibration, it's there as well. So sometimes I really like throwing that with the skirt off there, creating less drag, and then I get a bigger profile with that bait, and it definitely works. I love doing that way. Actually, as of late, I throw it that way a lot, especially I've been fishing a lot of grass places as of late, so I guess that's why. But I throw it both ways work well. I'm gonna throw my chatterbait on 12 to 15 pound line, sometimes 17 pound line, just so that I can horse that fish out from under a dock, or if I hook it over a laydown, I can pull that fish out of there. I don't like going any lighter than that when I'm throwing my chatterbaits. But again, great technique. You can throw multiple style trailers on there, whether it be a swim bait trailer, crawl trailers. Sometimes they even have like little grubs that you can throw on the end of your chatterbaits. The sky is the limit with that. Again, you're finding out what the fish like. Something that they're not seeing is going to be the key, as always. All right, you've probably guessed it. Bait number 4, hands down, the most thrown bait of all time, the senko. Let's talk about the senko real quick and how I like to throw it and rig it. If I'm on a laydown, if I'm around rocks, if I am going over a brush pile, I'm going to pitch in a senko. I'm going to have it Texas rigged 2 ways. I'm going to have it on a flipping hook, or I'm going to have it on an EWG hook. I'm going to throw it on braided line and heavy fluoro. If I am by a dock, I'm going to skip that joker way up under there. I'm going to put it on a spinning reel, 12 to 15 pound fluoro. I'm going to wacky rig it or throw it weightless. Okay, my confidence area with the senko is throwing it wacky style and throwing it Texas rig, flipping laydowns. I'm going to throw several different colors. Hands down, black and blue senko all day long. Dark melon pepper, Bass Pro Shops color. Love throwing dark melon pepper. This is the way I really like throwing wacky, and sometimes I'll throw this on a shaky head depending on the situation. And then of course, Sooner Run, I want to do that weightless. One of my favorite colors, weightless. And then of course, I told you guys before, I like making my own baits. I do have a senko mold. My favorite color to make, Blue Lagoon. Green pumpkin brown with blue and black flake in it. And I'm gonna throw this and flip it, and I'm gonna put it wacky style. If it's a tough day, I'm gonna have a senko in my hand. If I see a dock, I'm gonna have a senko in my hand. If I see a laydown, I'm gonna have a senko in my hand. It's just that confidence bait, tried and true, guys. You gotta have senkos on. Bait number 5. Bait number 5, the big fish catcher, the jig. Hands down, when you get that 5 in the boat, if you haven't picked up a jig yet and you need to upgrade some size, throw the jig. Okay, I have a bluegill pattern, green pumpkin brown with some blue flake, and I have another green pumpkin color bluegill pattern with a little bit of a cross style color to it as well. And of course, you gotta have black and blue all day long. Hands down, the biggest thing for me with the jig is going to be flipping trees. I like throwing the jig when I'm in trees, or if I'm in deeper water and I'm going across a brush pile, a hard bottom, stumps, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna throw that jig a lot. Okay, slow it down. If the fish are stingy, I can be real slow with it, be methodical, change out the trailers, and I'm gonna have it on that heavier line. Sometimes I'm gonna throw it on braid, but 9 times out of 10, I like throwing it on fluorocarbon. 17 to 20 pound line fluoro is gonna be the key for me. Again, confidence bait. If we need to upgrade size, gonna throw that jig, throw that trailer on there. For trailers, I like throwing different things. Sometimes I like throwing a creature bait style trailer on it to get more action, or 9 times out of 10, I like throwing a crawl style pattern or a chunk. Speed crawl pattern, the chunk trailers is going to be the go-to trailers for me when I'm throwing the jigs. But again, that is just that big fish catcher, and it's going to really get those fish who are undercover, under those trees, under those laydowns that you may see on your side scan. It just catches fish. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video going over the top 5 baits for the month of April. Let's get into this giveaway real quick before we end. To do my first giveaway, you got to do 4 things to be eligible for the prize. You need to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and also subscribe to my IG page, Bewitz Gone Fishing. Do those 4 things, you'll be eligible for the prize. What I'm going to give away is 2 Plano Edge boxes, and it just may have some special baits in there as well. You never know. Don't be left out. All right, guys. Again, like I said, thank you again for clicking on today's video. Stay tuned for more content to come. If you did, you got to do those 4 things for me. It'll help me out a ton. And until next time, tight lines.